Hello. I made this little silhouette example that I shared today on Discord and on Twitter, and I wanted to explain really quickly how it works. So this is the project. It's super simple. I have my player here that moves, I have a prop, and I have these invisible objects that I will be talking about later. And the very basics is I just create a bunch of these props objects all over the map, and I have this sort family that contains the player animation and the props to have them sorted on the y-axis like any other game that would need a silhouette system. So how does it work? The first thing I do is, if you look at the code here, is the creation of the props. The first thing I do is use my empty shell add-on. It's this one. It's basically an empty object with no texture, to which you can give a texture by copying another sprite, and for this one I just give it the player animation source, and I have it set at the player animation's position and added as a child so it follows it, and I put it on the silhouette layer. So the silhouette layer is here, and how the entire thing works is using sublayers to only apply the silhouette to whatever's above the player. So when I sort all the objects, I'm going to have everything below the player on this layer, the player stay on his own layer, and I am going to have a silhouette layer that has force on texture to on, and I have every prop that's above the player go here in above player. And for the halo I have this layer, but I will be explaining later how it works. So I put it on the silhouette and I give it, where is it? And I give it the source atop blend mode, so you can see it's right here. And I add a shader, set color shader, to apply a little change on the player sprite. Otherwise it would just copy the player sprite on top, and it wouldn't really be a silhouette, or like just the texture. So the set color is here to do that. You could be using any other shader. You could be using a dithering shader. So if I want to add a dither, I think I have, yeah, and maybe I can do 50, yeah. And now I should have a small alpha dithered silhouette on top of whatever's in front of it. So this is the silhouette, and to do the sorting I do it in JavaScript because it's much easier to do it that way. So I start with targeting the below player layer, and on every tick I sort by y-axis, and then I move to the given layer, and if the object I'm looking at right now is the player, I just change the target layer to be above the player. That's pretty much it. This is just the code to manage the player's movement and the little checkbox that lets me change between using the silhouette and using the halo. And so how does the halo work? The halo is using the same idea. It's basically just a light layer like you typically see them. So a non-transparent layer with force on texture and this sprite cutting into it. So, but what I'm doing now is that after I'm cutting into it, I just set the blend mode to destination in. So whatever's inside the halo will be cut from the image. And since silhouette has force on texture to on, the only thing this is affecting is whatever's inside the above player. So now I can just target whatever's in front of the player, because they're on the layer that's affected by the halo. And if I move in front of an object, it's no longer no longer needs to affect it because it doesn't hide the player anymore. It kind of looks a bit jarring, I think, but it's better than nothing, I guess, and it's kind of cheap the way I did it. I think it could be made better. The biggest issue right now is that when you're behind a big object, whatever's in front of you is hidden by default, because the object is already hiding it, so you can't really see unless you move to the bottom of the wall and the objects are behind you. But I guess that's okay, it's not really a big deal. So that's it. That's pretty much it. And the code to set up the halo is the same as the code to set up the silhouette. It's just adding a child and moving it with the player. That's all of it. And the file is available on Discord if you want to download it. That's it. Bye.